What is going on, everybody? We are back once again with another edition of Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. It is Wednesday, April 23rd. I am still somehow in Las Vegas, Nevada, geographically speaking. That's why I don't have a cool mic set up like normal, but thankfully, I'm in a good place right now. I'm feeling good. What a weekend we had. I'm going to make it through this wedding I got to go to on Saturday, but it's April 23rd, a Wednesday. It's a news day. I've got a heck of a crew riding with me, one that I basically can't get rid of. I thought once I sent him to the airport yesterday, I wouldn't see him or talk to him for quite some time, but he is our head of opinions all the way back in Philadelphia. He sat in a tube for 4 hours yesterday, but he's home now. Anthony Ricciardi, good to see you once again. How much fun did we have this weekend?
Oh, we had a blast. The last night we were gambling like crazy and came home with more money than I left with. Not counting the money I blew in the superstore. On a amazing mini title that will probably eventually be featured on Sold separately, but this is always fun to do, and it's been a little while since I've done one of these, so let's get into it.
100%. I'm stoked, but before we do get into this, I got to introduce one more, and this is a man that I have to personally thank for stepping up in a big spot last night. I had lack of sleep because I've been in Las Vegas for far too many days. This man sacrificed his own sleep for me to appear on Off the Air with Shad. And that is Big Archie Carter, the man, the myth, the legend, arguably the MVP of the early week here at Wrestling Republic. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for being here, and let's talk about some Mania. How are you?
I'm doing very good, mate. I'm happy to be back on a show with both you and Anthony. We haven't done a free man with us three for quite a while, so I'm excited to do that. And yeah, don't mention it about Off the Air. It was a fun show. I was running on autopilot a bit at the start, but as we got into it, as always with Shad, it's incredibly fun to talk wrestling with Shad all the time. So yeah, we had a great time. But yeah, let's get into it.
No doubt about it. Let's get into it. We've also got Happy Hump Day, WR crew from Fernando Zayas. What's going on, Fernando? Good to have you as always. And hello from Number One Superfly. Let's talk about our favorite moments of Mania weekend.
Mm-hmm.
This is hard to pick for me.
Yeah.
And so normally I like to go first on topics like this. Not today, Junior. I'm going to send it to the man that wasn't in the crowd out of the gates. I'm calling an audible here.
Okay.
And then we'll get to the two guys that were in attendance over Mania weekend. But Archie, from your perspective, watching all of the shows, being on the broadcast, doing all of that you accomplished this weekend, what was your favorite moment?
This is tough because if we're counting the whole of WrestleMania, so we're talking about Raw after Mania as well, I've got two that's very, very close together, but I think my favorite is the end of night one where Heyman does a double turn and turns on both Punk and Roman. I thought it was just an exceptional heel turn. And I think him aligning with Seth, I talked about on the daily before that I didn't really have much of an interest in Punk and Heyman kind of working together. But it's the way that wrestling companies can kind of do an angle or pull off an angle makes you kind of rethink or completely changes your mindset. And that angle was just done so well, where he's turned on Punk, and I didn't actually expect the Roman turn until Paul kept looking down at Roman and was like, yeah, he's definitely going to go down on one knee and give him a low blow. And I love Seth just kind of standing there, and he doesn't even need to look behind. He just puts his arm out, ready for Heyman to give him the chair. And a very close second is the end to Raw after Mania, where Bron Breakker's finally broke into the main event scene now. And I guarantee he's going to be a world champion very, very soon. And we're kind of getting a Dangerous Alliance / Evolution. So I'm excited for it. But yeah, those are my two favorite moments of the weekend.
I love those. And I'll tell you what, from in the building, it wasn't my favorite moment, but the low blow on Roman
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
I thought the brilliance of it was, if you notice when he got Punk, it almost looked like he was reluctant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got Roman, he twisted his
Yeah,
arm.
he's twisting.
He really got in there.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Mhm.
All
That's
the
why
way-
he's so good as well. Heyman.
brilliant
He's a master of
storytelling
that.
wise
Yeah.
there. Yeah, that one was the like, that was the, I don't want to say the real turn.
No.
It was like, it felt like what he did to Punk was he was doing what he had to do.
Yeah.
When he got Roman, it was, I'm done with what I needed from you.
Yeah. Like pent up anger.
Yes,
Mhm.
absolutely. I love it. Great shouts, Archie, but Ant,
Mm-hmm.
all the moments to pick from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
From Mania weekend. I want to hear yours. I have no idea what you're going to say because I've got a list of like 10 in my head.
You know,
So I still haven't even decided before my segment. So take your time on this one.
here's the thing. I don't think I can quantify it down to one specific moment. Clark and I went to a number of different shows this weekend. I didn't go to the Joey Janela one. He did. Still haven't seen that one, but the one that the one that he dragged me to, which was the Midnight Progress show. Seeing Paul Walter Hauser win a title was kind of cool, even though I was incredibly sleep deprived. And having an entire audience chant "twat" is a first time experience that I got to enjoy, even though I was clearly sleep deprived. And the next day, I said to Clark, "I'm like, you do realize that technically with the time difference, I was up for 24 hours. You know that, right?" He's like, "Yeah, I probably didn't think that through." I'm like, "No, you didn't. I was exhausted." Night one for me, it's the storytelling, it's the moments. The Heyman turn, like you mentioned. The thing that I don't know if it was on air, because I haven't watched it back. But when the Fire Burns, Punk's original WWE theme played, the entire crowd sang the song, even though they booed Punk, which was a very bizarre crowd, honestly, who they were booing and cheering for, at least from my standpoint. I love that. Night two, you got to talk about Becky's return, and the Joe Hendry moment. Just as a fan, just how insane that was, that a TNA world champion is appearing on a prime stage on a WrestleMania. That's something that no one would have believed some years ago. And it's just, that was wild. Cena winning again. It didn't anger me, or I didn't like the Travis Scott part of it. I kind of think that was probably the Rock spot. I thought the finish was a little lackluster, but I was completely fine with Cena winning it. I do think he's going to hold it till his last match, and then he's going to probably lose it to Cody. That's my guess. The lineage is not going to end with Cena. They're not going to create a new title and eliminate all those years of history. But I do think Cena holds it until his last match.
Absolutely. I think those are some great picks. And I really do appreciate you shouting out the Progress show. And I did drag you to that one, and you didn't want to go.
I did not want to go.
It was late at night. I was like, dude, we have to go.
Yeah.
We have to go.
I was like, I was just on a flight. You'll be fine.
It was as fun as it could be. Let's be honest with ourselves. It was great. I will say, honorary mention for myself. You mentioned the Sabu show.
Yes.
I do have to shout out our friend from the fan chat, Ace Coleman. He joined just me and Carter for the Sabu show.
Wow.
On the way into the show, Sabu, in what he would eventually wrestle in, which was a white coat with white pants and no shirt underneath, very much shoulder checked our buddy Ace. Walking into the venue, and we were there 2 matches after the start of the show itself. We sat up in the rafters, and it was hysterical. It was one of the most fun independent shows I've ever been to because, I mean, we were nervous. Say what you will about Sabu. I'm not going to recklessly speculate on what was exactly going on there, but something was. And it was funky. They played Enter Sandman for 5 minutes. That was electric. But Anthony, really quickly, I got to give you what my absolute favorite moment was of the weekend. And my absolute favorite moment, bar none, was when we were walking in as a group, my father FaceTimed me. And I was just really excited, and all the wrestling fans around us and all the hoopla of Vegas was happening. And I showed everybody that was with us on the call to my dad, said hello. And he said one of the coolest things he's ever said to me. And he just said, "I've never seen you so happy. This is all worth it." And I mean, I'm almost getting choked up right now just because like it meant so much to me. Everything about this weekend was just so incredible. Las Vegas was an amazing place to have this show, from Carter Crisp helping us out with housing, from being able to get into the hotel where we could walk directly across the bridge to the event, getting all the way to Superstore, all the way up the strip, trying to do it the easy way, and then eventually just acquiescing to the hard way. All the little fun stories along the way. It was one of the best weekends of my life in so many ways. And I was just so impressed with what Las Vegas was able to do as the host city of WrestleMania, sincerely. But yeah, the moment for me is just, the way my dad reacted to just seeing the excitement in me on the way to the show. Made me feel like a kid again. I felt like a kid again a lot of times this week. And that's, I think, why we all watch wrestling as fans. And not only that, monster shout out Anthony, Kobe, everyone that was on the trip, 100%. Carter, thank you so much. Like, it just, I can't even emphasize how fun it was.
Correct. There's a couple things I just dawned on me. Seeing Danhausen at the show.
Incredible.
The first show we went to, wasn't expecting that.
So many little moments.
Running into Willow in the hotel when we were leaving, meeting Willow, which was incredibly awesome.
Willow Nightingale. Goodness gracious.
It was
awesome.
The
weekend, we went to we all got in. That's wrong.
I got in.
Anthony and I were in.
Yeah.
We met up with Carter. He was like, well, why don't we just go to this show? We ended up meeting Willow Nightingale in the casino on the way out of the Palms.
Yep.
Monster shout out, Carter. Could not be nicer. Willow Nightingale is Willow Nightingale all the time. And for her time, it was just amazing getting to meet her. We've got a bazillion comments to run through that I love.
The only other thing I want to say selfishly,
go right ahead.
This was one of those things. I said to Clark at the end of night 2, I said to him, I was like, dude, let's get a selfie. And I know Clark was tired, really didn't want to, but he did it because I really wanted it, because I've been very, very privileged to have gone for the past 3 years. So I have all 3 photos on my timeline. It was very important to me. And, thanks for what you did.
I love that. No, thank you, Anthony, for coming with. And then we got numero 1 Superfly here. His favorite Mania moments were night 1, Seth and Paul's alliance. Night 2, Joe Hendry accepting Randy Orton's open challenge. I can't believe we didn't even get to that. What an unbelievable spot that all that was. Greetings from USA, New Jersey. He has a YouTube show at 6 Eastern time on Fridays, but favorite moment was Breaker's Spear of Carlito and Dom's victory. Night 2 was so much better than night 1. The finish of Cody versus Cena was very anticlimactic. Progress show was fire from Fernando. Now they got AAA. That was a funny inside joke we didn't even bring up from this weekend, because that's how you really say it. The letter A in Spanish is A.
Yes. Clark explained this to me in the car.
I had to. And then we've got Sabu was one of my favorites back in the day. Me too. It was an interesting final match, my friend, to say the least. And then we've got Nick Teodoro with sounds like you had memorable experience. That's what it's all about. Cheers. Thank you so much. And then Fernando's eyes, very happy you had a blast in Vegas. Wow, met Willow, man. You're lucky as hell.
Really
yes,
cool.
Thank you. And
so
then the women's triple threat was the best match of the entire weekend.
Forgot to even mention that.
Yeah.
Hang on. I mean, let's think about other moments, because there's so many from this weekend. Like, how about when we got to the stadium and just walking in and you turn around and you see the bridge with the wave of fans.
Yeah.
One of the funniest things, looking back, it's kind of funny, especially that after night 2, I'm with Clark, and it's a sea of people. There's no getting around it. And at the point, Clark realized we were going the wrong way. And then we have to fight through against the sea of people to get to a place where that we did see. Oh, mind you, we saw Dom in the golf cart speeding away.
This is the greatest.
And only Clark and I saw this.
Me and Anthony get separated from the group. Well, what happened was the difference between night 1 and night 2 was they did the post show on the concourse night 1. So once you exited the stadium, you could walk across the bridge. Night 2, they did the post show outside the stadium because it was going to last longer.
They changed
the Sunday Easter
in the arena.
So they wanted to send the people home from the arena sooner, the arena staff. So they did it outside of the actual stadium. So you had to operate around the fans that were watching the post-game show to get to the bridge. No complaints. We're at WrestleMania. Me and Ant got lost as could be. End up down on the street. Next thing you know, it's Dom Mysterio in a golf cart. And I was like, hey, Dom. He waved back.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Much nicer than
that's just after he's won the IC title, so he would have been.
That was
he's holding the title. It's even funnier.
That was after a fan may or may not have been hit by the golf cart.
Which
explains the speeding off.
I got close. Dom was not driving it, thankfully.
Yeah, Dom was not driving the golf cart. But we now understand why they were speeding off.
Let's keep it rolling here. We've got the original Mania 41 card revealed. Let's talk about this one. Let's break it down from a fundamental standpoint. We've got Cody Cena. That happened. Roman, Punk, and Seth.
Which happened.
Also very much happened. But then
this is the weird part that's coming up.
I would Seth Gunther.
I would have.
Was this a 2-nighter? Oh yeah, well, but is he gonna wrestle twice?
Maybe Punk and Seth. Maybe there was like a false finish or a double finish that happened, and the person got
to eliminate Roman
match. Yeah, maybe.
Who knows? And then we've got Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley, who very much wrestled in a match that was won by Io Sky.
Yes.
And then
I
we've
feel
got...
like I was gonna say I feel like Io got added late on because of how popular she got with the fans.
Yeah, that's entirely
I think
possible.
that goes back to the Rumble, and I mentioned that she had the most underratedly gigantic pop for her entrance of any woman in the Women's Rumble in Indianapolis. I was there. WWE Women's Championship, Jade Cargill against Nia Jax, Battle of Titans. This is where it didn't happen. Then we have Randy Orton versus KO, and
which obviously didn't happen because of KO's injury.
But this is the punt match that didn't include the actual punter, Pat McAfee. But either way, the Wyatts and Judgment Day was penciled. Interesting.
Yep.
Charlotte and Becky against Asuka and Io Sky. Okay.
That would have been pretty awesome, to be fair.
Yeah.
It would have been pretty awesome. AJ Styles, Logan Paul, which we very much witnessed. Bad Bunny, Dom.
That one I think would have been really interesting.
Anywhere.
Of the matches on here, that one I think intrigues me the most because I think entertainment value, I think it could have been really fun.
We've got 2 left, and then I'm going to go straight to you, actually, anyway, Anthony, too. So, dude, if you want to highlight that one, hold that thought until I get you on the solo cam. We've got Braun and Drew McIntyre. Would have been a slugfest. Priest Drew was a slugfest. I don't know on that. And then Mysterio versus, and right here it says Chad Gable, but I think it's actually El Grande Americano.
Made a mistake there.
Yes,
obviously. And we actually ended up with Ray Phoenix. We got a fellow Ray. So I'm just saying it now. But in all seriousness, I think we knew that one was the plan. But you mentioned a couple already, Ant, as we're running through the list that stood out to you. Which one is the one that stood out the most?
It's probably Bad Bunny and Dom. I did not anticipate, though, at Mania, and I don't know why I didn't anticipate this. I didn't anticipate how much the crowd would be behind Dom. Like the ex-con Dom thing really has kind of taken on a life of its own. And the crowd was very much behind him winning the Intercontinental title, which kind of surprised me because I thought, okay, they'll get behind Penta. I think Penta would be the one that the crowd would really have wanted to win. But like I said, I thought it was a very strange crowd, and it very much was they were behind Dom. I mean, that was my interpretation of it. I don't know if you had the same one, Clark, on that, but I think the crowd was very much behind Dom on this one. The same way I was very surprised how anti the crowd was towards Punk and Cody during the night, during each night. I think Braun in the four-way was the better option. Braun and Drew might have been entertaining, but realistically, I think the four-way really worked. For the fill-in for Mysterio, I had said to you, Clark, my thought should have been El Generico. I think that a one-off El Generico would have been absolutely phenomenal, either in Ray's spot in the Americano match filling in, or I think it would have worked in a weird way with the Randy Orton spot as well, because we all know KO and Sammy or El Generico are so tied together. And if you did a one-off for the night and it's not even technically Sammy, I think would work. WrestleMania is the one location you could have probably done something crazy like that, where it's just a one-off. I think that totally could have worked.
Absolutely, I agree. So sorry, I just got a text message, and that is very unprofessional, but neither here nor there. I was listening still. And yeah, absolutely. I agree with a lot of what you said there. I think one thing that's interesting, you mentioned the Dom aspect.
Mm-hmm.
I think this may have been the plan all along.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we forget, like, patience really pays off. And one of the most intriguing things I've ever found about wrestling storytelling is sometimes when you get so good at being a heel, people want to like you, because psychologically speaking, the places in your brain that produce hate and love are the closest together of anywhere.
I think it's the most interesting thing, because when Vince tried to shove Roman as this face, the crowd didn't want it. When Roman was able to be a heel, he earned their respect. And I think in a lot of ways, the reason Cena is getting the cheers when he's supposed to be getting booed right now is the fact that people acknowledge how great he is.
Yeah, and it's his final run.
And they're now cheering him because they wanted him a heel even back then, and they didn't get it. So I think that's part of the reason why he's getting the cheers when technically he's not supposed to, if that makes sense.
Right. I think even I agree, but I also even think with Dom, we're now getting to the point where it's like, this is getting fun. He feels like almost like Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah,
like, which I hate to admit it, but
which is the kicker, because I had said to you,
he got me. I was kind of like, yeah, go Dom. This is fun.
The fun part was when Dom was still the face with his dad. Clark, you pretty much had written him off, and I said, I think if he turns heel and fully embraces like an Eddie Guerrero type thing, I think he can make this work. The fact that he's able to do this, the only thing that I think was a missed opportunity, and I've said this before and I will say this again, when it was Liv and Rhea fighting over Dom, how do you not do a custody of Dom ladder match at SummerSlam so that Michael Cole could say for the second time the custody of Dom is on the line in a ladder match at a SummerSlam? How do you not do that?
That's a great point.
Very, very, very true. It's an excellent call. But I do, we've already gone over on this segment, but Archie, I got to get your thoughts as far as the original card, and if anything stood out to you, stones unturned, anything you saw with your keen eye that stands out.
No, so I'm gonna make this quick. I think the match card that we ended up with was a hell of a lot better than this. What stands out to me is that there was Bianca versus Rhea originally, and it was, as I just mentioned, it was gonna be Charlotte and Becky versus Asuka and Io. Which, if that did happen, it kind of would have frustrated me a bit, because I know being in the ring with two goats like Becky and Charlotte would have been great, but that moment for Io at WrestleMania, I think that's just put a right up on the pedestal as at the top of the women's division now, and not only is at the top of the women's division in terms of wrestling ability, but also popularity. Like Vegas was all for Io. Like I think in the end, around Raw after Mania, she was getting kind of similar reactions to Rhea was. So yeah, I think I'm happy that they kind of pivoted and added Io into the Bianca and Rhea match, and not only pivoted and added her in, but had her win the match and win over two of WWE's most popular stars in the women's division right now.
Absolutely, and I think that's absolutely fair. That is completely fair, because also I think Io's victory was as shocking as maybe any on the card.
Yeah.
As much as certain people predicted Io Sky to win, it's very, very possible.
Well, it was shocking right up until the end. There was some fantastic camera work when Bianca was doing the pin. You couldn't see Io up on the top rope, and just as Bianca was about to look up to Io, they changed the camera angle just at the right time, so you couldn't really see Io hitting the moonsault. So
right,
yeah.
Let's talk about something even more interesting in the women's division. We've seen the return of Nikki Bella this year at the Royal Rumble, the big surprise. Starting to sound like both Bellas are going to be back. And Anthony, I want to ask you about that. Pretty interesting, because the tag team titles have been a little controversial over the last few years. Sasha Banks. Sorry. Sorry about that. I had something stuck in my throat, but maybe this is a positive to sort of reestablish the division. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the Bellas are probably one of the most over acts that's ever been in WWE. Twin Magic. The tag titles were not a thing during their run. So it would make a lot of sense for them to come in and win the tag titles and maintain them using Twin Magic. You got to do them as heels. I think that's the smart play to do it. They're going to get cheered regardless, but I think a heel run as a team, Brie, obviously, she never held any gold in WWE. Nikki did. So to give them one final run, the Hall of Famers, I think it's a positive, and you could probably put over younger talent. So I think it's a smart move.
I dig it as well. I'm stoked about it. But speaking of things that I dig, let's talk about our friends over at Etsy. Head over to the App Store, no matter which type of phone you have. Download the Etsy app on the App Store or Google Play Store. Head to the upcoming stream section. You'll see me, Takes, Aunt You, all kinds of guys. And the best part is, as long as you've got guys and girls, I apologize. And not only that, the best part is, as long as you've got a cell phone with a microphone and a camera, you don't even have to turn the camera on. You can jump on and argue with us for a few minutes at a time. It's an absolute blast. And the best part is, apps absolutely free. So go ahead and download that one, no matter which phone you're on. But let's get back to the show at hand here. Let's talk about the old Wednesday Night Wars. They're not going to be on Wednesday.
No.
Necessarily always. But they are going to be going head to head. That's kind of the scoop on Hoops here. That's where we're at. Archie? How do you feel about it?
I'm not a massive fan of it. In fact, I really hate it, to be honest. I feel like this is. I don't want to watch. I don't want to have to choose between Double or Nothing or Battleground. I want to be able to watch both on the same weekend. I want to be able to kind of build a weekend around both shows and have a kind of wrestling weekend. Now I'm having to choose between which ones to, and both of them are on Sunday as well, which is even worse. I think Saturday premium live events or pay-per-views are so much better. But no, I really don't like this kind of business decision. Whether it is, I don't know who announced the dates first, but I don't really like the business decision. I think it would have been better to have one show on the Saturday and one show on the Sunday. Whoever had to make the decision last to put the show on whatever date. But yeah, I really don't like this. As a wrestling fan, it makes my life a lot harder. So yeah, I don't really like it.
I hear you. Here's one thing I will say as a caveat, Archie. Let's be honest with ourselves. It's more of a choice of which one are we going to watch live.
Yeah, that's true.
We're going to watch both. Here's the difficult part, and where I really agree with you. a lot of the discussion will be about which you watched live if you're more of a hardcore fan. If you watch all of wrestling, that's where a lot of the conversation about both shows will be, and it will take away from the performances, even the excellent ones on both shows.
Yeah.
From my standpoint, because you said that these are both Sunday pay-per-views, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Now, for me, it's not necessarily going to be the one that I'm watching because I want to watch it more, but realistically, NXT will end at a decent time for me to sleep and go to work the next day.
Yeah.
AEW always runs late, so I'd rather watch it the next day because of that. That is a problem with Sunday pay-per-views when they're running long and after midnight. For me, as somebody that works
and NXT will have like 5 match cards, 6 match card match. So
100%. Now, the other issue at hand when it comes to this is the comparison thing.
Oh yes,
because it can both be positive and negative. The Wednesday Night Wars elevated both brands. Let's be honest with ourselves.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's going to happen like at the end of the day.
Yes.
So I don't think it's horrible. If it's every single time, that's where I think we run into trouble.
Here's the other thing. This is not like the 90s and the Monday Night Wars because everything's on demand now. So it's not as much as you have to set up a VCR to tape them. You have to choose. You can kind of do whatever the heck you want now. So it's
not only that.
Which one you watch live first?
This tickles me. Our good friend Fernando goes, I got 3 TVs. I'll be watching both at the same time.
Sorry, bragging.
No, humble brag. Humble brag.
Humble brag.
Fernando's a friend of the show, man.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. Respect. 3 TVs. That sounds like a sick setup.
Yes.
That sounds awesome.
Man cave for life. Okay, let's talk about something that I found very fascinating this weekend. WWE have acquired the Lucha Libre organization, AAA, and I think it's amazing. I did not have El Hijo de Vikingo. I didn't have Vikingo showing up at WrestleMania on my bingo card for the weekend.
It was wild as well.
Period. I can't believe that one. That might have been the biggest shock I saw. Period.
Yeah.
There's a lot of comments about Stephanie Vaquer's face. Given the CMLL stuff and all of that.
Yeah.
She didn't have a big old smile. She's also signed to the WWE now as well. We've seen, for me, I think it's just amazing for Mexican wrestling. This is so cool. AAA has so much amazing history when it comes to Lucha Libre and everything, the tradition, all of it.
Yes.
Be able to keep this alive and have the financial resources that they do now, I think it's so important for the industry and for, the global wrestling community. I was tickled by this announcement. Genuinely. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Archie, I'm going to go to you first. What are you looking forward to seeing as far as the AAA performers potentially appearing on WWE, as well as what they end up doing with this product as a whole?
So I agree. I think it's really exciting. I don't kind of watch a massive amount of kind of Lucha Libre in terms of like CMLL and AAA. But I think this is really exciting because this is a company that, as you said, has a lot of history, but recently it's not been, like to say it lightly, it hasn't been doing too great, especially in comparison and competition to CMLL. So I feel like this is coming just at the right time for AAA. And I feel like WWE might be doing some shuffling in terms of they might completely reshuffle the deck in terms of rosters and who's on the roster and everything like that. But I think this is going to be exciting because you're not only that, reportedly there might be WWE writers on doing the writing as well for the show as well, which is even more exciting. So I think this is a great acquisition, and I applaud WWE for doing that. And I feel like there's a lot they can do with this, especially under this kind of historic name. In terms of Stephanie Vaquer's face in the thing, I don't think that really means much. I think she's very, very excited because it kind of puts Lucha Libre onto a whole new level. And Vikingo, I've got a feeling maybe this might lead to Vikingo potentially signing with the WWE, which is something I actually never thought would be possible these past few years.
100%. And I also think, to your point, I think a little bit of Stephanie Valquer's reaction was in character.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, I'm going to see some old rivals, things like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
I think that it might have been a little bit of an overreaction. I love this one for Fernando. This is an excellent transaction for the sport of wrestling. Very excited about it. And then Sean Ellis added as well. WWE, TNA, AAA is the best thing that happened in pro wrestling. The worst thing in pro wrestling. Oh, geez. Either way. Geez Louise, Sean. We know you don't like them. That show's tomorrow. Jeez. Aloha, my friend. But Anthony, I do want to get your thoughts on the acquisition and everything we saw this weekend involving the AAA now being under WWE's banner.
I think it's interesting. It's something that I don't think any of us envisioned, but they have kept the tradition of the past 3 years. When we were at 39, Clark, that's when the announcement was made that Endeavor was buying WWE. Last year, when they were in Philly, word got out that they were in discussions with TNA. And shortly thereafter, we heard the partnership got officially signed. This year, they bought AAA. I think it's something that if they're building the NXT to a global farm system, which is what I think they're doing, it makes sense instead of starting from scratch, buy something with rich history and have it be the funnel system. We know Conan has been involved with AAA for a very long time. He's been essentially the godfather of Lucha Libres, getting them into the States. He's been doing this since the 90s.
Yep.
He's heavily involved with it. We know he doesn't particularly care for Tony Khan, but he has been in discussions with Triple H. So I do think he will still be involved. I know Jeremy Borish's name, I think, had come out that he might be the WWE liaison
that's right, yeah.
with AAA, which I think it's a positive. I think the same thing's going to happen in Japan, I personally believe. Whether WWE buys Noah or buys New Japan, I think one of those two are probably going to get bought by WWE to establish the NXT Japan, if you will. I am surprised that AAA got bought before TNA, but it's a smart move from them that you are essentially building farm systems to filter into WWE for long-term future. It's a smart business move. People may not like it, but at the end of the day, WWE has always been about the history of the business, preserving the history of the business.
Yeah.
Whether people like it or not, there's a reason why they have the video archives. There's a reason why people still talk about WCW. Why? Because they're able to see it on the network. Kevin Nash talked about it all the time. He gets 8-year-olds asking for autographs. They weren't alive when this happened, but they know because of the network. So it's going to open the door for a lot of talent to go in WWE. Vikingo is easily the best pickup they could possibly have. I was stunned Tony Khan did not buy him out years ago when we first started seeing him. And I remember saying to Clark, I'm like, Vikingo is probably the next Ospreay.
We saw him at 39 at ROH.
Yes.
He's incredible.
And the scary part to me, as good as he is, but you get that kid with guidance from Shawn Michaels. Yeah. The sky's the limit for the man.
XMJ with more broadly. How do you feel about monopolistic business practices? Poorly, honestly, if you've watched this program for a long time, I'll address this one, guys.
Sorry.
We are big fans of wrestling across the board. So we don't like that. And I don't think this is a monopolistic business practice at all.
No.
The acquisition of ROH by AEW wasn't monopolistic.
No.
Yeah.
What was monopolistic was the lack of financial competition in the industry. That's a problem that AEW solved. The WWE could not solve on their own.
Yeah.
Correct.
And that is not the fault of WWE. That's not what I'm implying in the least. But Archie, go ahead. I apologize.
I know. It's completely indifferent. Anthony brought up a good point that buying a historic name like Triple R is a great way instead of just kind of building something from scratch. So I really hope that they kind of stick with the AAA name instead of maybe rebranding it's like NXT Mexico or something. Because I feel
No, I
like
do believe they will
keeping
stick with the name.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's been any talks about that or anything like that, but I hope kind of keeping that kind of rich history there in not just in Lucha Libre, but whatever other promotions they might decide to buy or whatever would be the best thing going forward, I think. Yeah.
100%. Now, with that, my friends, thank you everybody that tuned in. It's been a great show. That's going to bring us to the end of the show. Have an excellent Wednesday. I hope you enjoyed Mania and all of the content from here at WR. It's been an exhausting, excellent week in Vegas. I'm still here. You won't even see me back home for another few days at least. But I got a wedding to go to. That's neither here nor there. Point is, on behalf of me, Clark, Anthony, Archie, everybody at WR, thank you so much for all the support. Like and subscribe if you haven't. We appreciate it so much. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow. That's, of course, noon Pacific, 3 o'clock in the East, 8 o'clock over in the UK, and then 9 a.m. for my friends in Hawaii. And we will talk to you soon.